actually keeping the NASDAQ up to where now the NASDAQ made a new high at 24,102. Why is the NASDAQ going up? Well, Warner Brothers is a big part of that. Another big mover in the NASDAQ today is Tesla. But that Warner Brothers stock, WBD, go and take a look at what they're up to today. Trading at $18.31, up $2.10. It's a gain of 13.05%. So we've got some big movers. I think looking at the NASDAQ earlier today, out of the 100 stocks in the NASDAQ 100 futures, 27 were up, 73 were down. But the ones that are up, 13%. That's a pretty hefty percentage now at 13.27%. So Warner Brothers and Tesla kind of leading the way for the NASDAQ. Typically, you're looking for NVIDIA and AMD to be the leaders, maybe even Apple. And today, well, someone else is carrying the load. So we see the S&P kind of caught in the middle of this with this Dow sliding back down and the NASDAQ staying up. The S&P futures heading towards yesterday's high at 6,000. Tom has talked a lot about the 6,005 number. Silver at 42.74. Made it up to 43.04 earlier today. I think that metals are a big part of some of the rallies we've seen. Metals have been doing very well in the month of September, both gold and silver. GLD, a week ago, Tom was talking about going long GLD above 322.50. They're at 335.88 right now, 336.39, the high of the day. So we got some big moves there. Silver, Tom would get a little bit more into some of the silver stocks. I can tell you that silver futures up on the day, made that new high, peaking above 43. They haven't really capitalized on that, but that's kind of a big level. And when you break a big level, the question is always, what's the next level? So I think you got to keep a close eye on silver. If they can get above 43, they might even be able to make the run up to 44. Maybe not today, but it's certainly something that looks like we could be heading in that direction. So I think overall, the market is showing off some resiliency here. Again, the negative look comes from the Dow, which, if you consider yesterday's big rally, which ran to and through 45,844, and this negative market that people are talking about trading at 45,976, the Dow futures have been tremendously strong, and they're simply giving a little bit of that back, but they are still hanging on to their strength, just not at the all-time high at the moment.
Yeah, so Chuck, Tom, let me interrupt a second. I, as far as silver goes, I'm long silver. I bought some PAAS this morning, the actual stock in the pre-market. And then I did an option play for one of the programs that we had this morning already. I think silver, like you said, 44, then 45 would be the next, points I would think it would go to after making that high today, maybe next week. But, silver is, it just has an explosive nature to it, and I've always liked it. A little bit more, not as, gold is at these levels is pretty volatile, but gold might have an intraday trend better, I guess, because everybody's going into gold. But silver is where big money can be made if you catch it right. And I would use, if I was in silver futures right now, I'd use 42, 44 as a stop if I was in there. I've been in there a couple times already, and I'm going to add to it if we can, we get positive. But also remember, I did that study on gold and silver. Typically between 10:30 and 12:30, you'll see the high of the day on a day like today. So maybe some more good to come. The market itself, very strong. We bought the TQQ this morning in the T&T room, and the people, Chuck, they're always saying, "How do I make money? How do I make money?" I say, "Get into TQQ in the T&T room." I trade that quite rapidly and have $1 risk on it. And I know some people say, "Well, I got a small account." Well, open up a cash account, and if you pick up a little bit every day, or every other day, or every 3 days a week, it's going to grow that small account into a big account. And you can do that through a cash account, because you have to buy that early in the morning. You have to buy the actual stock. But the TQQ is a very lucrative market. Options are great on it. I think we booked a nice TQQ trade recently. Maybe on Train and Trade, I forget where we did it, but I'm always trading TQQQ. It's at the front of my watch list. The general market, went down last night. I gave a pivot number, Chuck, of to start out of 40 or 65. So 65.75, and the low was 65.75, so that was a good call. And I've been sort of nibbling and nibbling. Now the S&P's back above its opening, headed to that 66.05 area. I posted the Chuck. Did you see where I posted the money maker in there last night and this morning? You see what's happening is that we're moving closer and closer to that 66.05 area. And then if we get above 66.05, the next stop I have is 66.16, followed by the big number 66.40. Might not be there today, but that'd be a big day if we had that. There's a lot of opportunities here for everybody, depending on what you want to trade. And let me get through the slides, and then we'll maybe go to a live market, see if we can find something that you can put your teeth into. We got another minute or so. We probably ought to wait to get everybody here, that we don't have to repeat ourselves. But
Tom, while we're waiting, definitely saw that that moneymaker go in just after RB3 and T-Buzz talk and trade. And yeah, TQQQ, what was it, 638? Just looking at some of or 8638. So
the TQQ is 96.78.
9678. Okay, so we got a couple typos in there. Get them fixed. But obviously TQQ moving up. Now, the thing about silver, you mentioned like small accounts. Like I've got a friend of mine who said, "Hey, I hear I should buy gold, but it's too expensive." Well, look at silver. Look. I get it. Gold is up, and I think gold could still be going. But if that's your detriment, you're trying to invest in precious metals as a hedge against inflation. Silver is a precious metal.
An old trader once told me, when I was a young trader, because I had the same thought, man, this thing's too expensive. He said, "Tom, let me teach you something. You got to remember this. We operate off the bigger fool theory." I said, "What's the bigger fool theory?" He said, "When it goes up high and you buy it, sell it to a bigger fool at a higher price." In other words, follow the trend. That's what he was trying to tell me. Don't let Wall Street define what a top is or what a bottom is. You'll be wrong. You'll lose money. And that's he followed that statement up. Now, the white papers in there, Mr. Kelly. Be sure to read those over the weekend. Ask questions next week. But we got to, it's just sort of interesting how all this comes together. Now, how do I keep up with it? I keep up with it through my world-renowned roadmap software. I couldn't keep up with all this stuff unless I have, at a glance, I can look over there and see when the market's pausing, when it's accelerating. And, this is the value of being here. You get to learn what tools to have, what to look for, when to trade, how to trade. education. There's a lot of value being here. But you always got to remember one thing. Past performance is not indicative of future results. In my opinion, the market's going higher. And I tell people this just about every day. 7 out of 10 days, you should see a higher market. We're in a bull market. We're going higher. July 21st, we brought out T-Buzz the chimpanzee, and boy, he's making a lot of money for his folks. T-Buzz the chimpanzee, July 21st, my opinion. This is something I'm doing just the last 3 months of the year. I'm proving a point. You take a small amount of money and grow it. And today at 2 o'clock, we'll have another meeting on the retirement center. This is totally free. Now, I'm using Tasty Trade as the account to show you how to do the trades and all that stuff. If you want a referral, Jonathan Rowe will give that to you. But today we're going to talk about the top dividend stocks with the topic on silver, since somebody was asking. So be there, totally free. All you got to do is show up. No cover charge to get in. If you need that referral, that's how you get it. Row at DTI Trader. We put it up here every day just to encourage you to learn how to manage your retirement money. Got an upcoming in-person class here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, south of Jacksonville. Excited about that. And I think everybody that attends will really enjoy it. Jennifer says, I'll be there. Now, what you get by attending an in-person class, listen to this. This is crazy. You get paid for attending. Anybody, who likes to get paid for getting education? Who likes to get paid for attending? There's not been a one small class that I've held since I started this that people didn't walk away with more money than they started by being there face to face with me. You do have to make an effort, though, and you have to come, okay? But you got also a free year in our Futures First. We meet every Monday. We'll see how everything goes there. And like I said, I think we can teach you more in 2 days. You're going to learn a year online. That's my opinion. And the students have taken time to come. Now, Jonathan, go over the weekly letter. This is so powerful. And by the way, I'm going to send an email out because there's about half of you that's journeyed into the Telegram channel. You need to get into the Telegram channel. You're losing your value because we do things in there throughout the week in the weekly Telegram channel. So if you bought it, make sure if you get the invitation to get in that Telegram channel. We got over 500 people that's members, and only about half of those have taken the time to join us in there, and you need to do that. Take it away, Jonathan.
The T-Buzz weekly trade letter, a lot of great feedback from all of our customers about this that have it. It's only $9.99 for a year. And
$990. Is it 900? What is it? Is it 900 bucks or what is it? When you say, what is it? How much?
Tom, it's $9.99 for the year. Probably the best deal you get at DTI.
Yeah, I think so.
On Monday after close, Tom and I get together. We put together, or he gives me his broad market update, about a paragraph, 3-4 sentences about the broad market, what he's expecting for the week. And then we get into showing you some charts. Let's not list it on the slide as far as checkpoints here. We give you some slides based on our MTI by DTI look, the indicator that you can put inside Thinkorswim, MTI by DTI. And that's a lot of value on its own if you don't have that. Then we get into the news for the week. This week, of course, was PPI and CPI. What's happening next week? Fed meeting next week. Key earnings to watch as well. Earnings season's kind of winding down at this point. But if there's anything of note earnings-wise, we'll post it in there. And then we get to the actionable items here, the really actionable items. Tom's weekly Magic 5 tickers, where it functions similarly to what Tom gives on a daily basis inside TNT. But this is for the week in which you get 5 tickers. You get trigger points we're going to be more serious about buying them or shorting them if we were in a bear market, which we're not. But in a bull market here, it'd be all long candidates. And we give you support and resistance levels too, so you can manage your targets and manage your stops. And then Tom gives a special opportunity of the week. Sometimes this might be focused on gold or silver like it has been recently, or Tom might introduce new stocks that maybe you hadn't heard of yet. And all that is, again, $9.99 for the year. Can't beat it. Best deal at DTI. And let me just post that link inside the chat in case everybody wants to get joined and be prepared for next week.
Yeah, and once you join or have joined, please come into the Telegram channel. Take the time and get in there. That's a lot more value. Chuck does a special report on Wednesday. That's worth a lot of money for that report. Always thinking about how to educate you on what we say, because it makes you a better trader, investor if you learn something new. Okay? It inspires you. All right, this week we put a focus on our technology, which is the Genesis Algo. You can copy this or go to that link and listen to it if you hadn't had a chance to listen to it. This is a very key part of our success, is that we take the technology that we built and we have it being framed for us between 12 and 1 every day. I think it'd be worth your time to listen, and you can listen to it at your own pace, but there's the link to do it. I guess if they hit review, do they get the link that way? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so I've already posted the slides about 3 or 4 times. On the slides, on this slide, you can just click there where it says click here, and you'll be able to watch the recording. Maybe when we're done with this session today, or maybe over the weekend, you can go review that.
Right. Yeah, we highlighted this week. I'm trying to build a framework that people that want to be successful have the right tools. This is one of those tools that does a lot of work for you. It forces you to do the right thing, meaning be on the right side of the market at a key time during the day. It's one of our biggest success stories. All right, John, this is on you. This is the September stocks. I want to maybe add a few if we don't have it. Did we ever put PAAS on here?
No, we'll add PAAS. Today was the first time you introduced it to your trading this month. So we will go ahead and
yeah, you got Hecla, right? Okay, good. See Hecla, look at Hecla. We talked about that a week and a half ago.
PAAS opened the month at 35. It's currently trading at 36.94. During the first 3 days of the month, it made a high of 35 and a low of 33.33. All right, you're going to see a lot of long on this sheet. And the main reason is because we got the S&P and the NASDAQ both long, but that's not the main reason. You see a lot. It's a little bit healthier market than last month. If you remember looking at these top tech stocks last month, it was kind of like a Christmas tree, mixed bag. It was some were green, some were red. And this month up till today, AMD was red, but today you can see it's at 157.38, which is above the 3-day low. Still not positive for AMD this month or Apple, but at least Apple is above its monthly open. Apple during the first 3 days of the month, this is a little bit deceiving. Apple shot out of the gate in the first 3 months and made a high of 235.77. That was 12 points, or what was that? That's what, 5-6% right in the first 3 days of the month. So it was probably due for a little bit of pullback and consolidation. But if you can get back above 235, maybe you can keep running this month. Otherwise, I might need to wait till, what am I sitting here looking at Apple and pointing at Amazon?
Yeah, make a comment on Apple. I posted in the TNT room this morning, Jonathan. We'll show it to him, but I posted in there, Apple had a bid today. That was at about 2:30. I hadn't checked it this morning, but Apple right now is at, you look at it real quick, it's 234, which really, if you take the 3-day high, what's the 3-day high there? 239.90 and the 3-day low. So Apple's come back. It's coming back from the dead. That was the point, the reason I posted that in the TNT room. Coming back from the dead.
And to be clear, I just put my glasses on so I can see these ticker symbols better. I was sitting there talking about Amazon when I was, or talking about Apple when I was looking at the Amazon numbers. Anyways, they're both had very similar, price action this month. They shot out of the gate. Apple went up $10 from its month open. Amazon went up $12, and they've pulled back a little bit. But main point is we don't see a mixed bag here between the tech stocks. There's not red and green combined. They're either trying to set up for the month or they're already setting up for the month, like Micron, Nvidia, and Google. Of course, we got gold and silver, bonds, strong, Bitcoin strong. And the way this works, if you're brand new, you've got these columns out to the right that say above FTD high or below FTD low. The FTD stands for first 3 days or first 3 trade days of the month. We mark the high and the low from those first 3 trade days.
John, I was talking to a customer yesterday. He's been trading for 30 plus years. He said, it's so simple, but it works so good. He said, it's so simple, it works so good. He said, I've been trading for 30 years, looking at all this technical analysis stuff, going down one rabbit hole after another, but you make money by keeping it simple. And this is our framework for the month in September. If it's got long by it, chances are 4 out of 5 it's going to be up for that month. And so just keep that in the back of your mind. That's what the stats show. No bias about it. It's just, it works better than anything out there. And we give it to you. And we update it for you every time we're live. Pretty good stuff. And TLT, John, don't we have an order out there on TLT? Is that thing still, where's it at? I'm just curious. I like to know how it's working towards our favor.
The TLT put spread does not expire until October 3rd. They still have 21 days until expiration. This underlying price of TLT itself is 89.74, and your put spread is an 89.88.5. We sold it for about 22 cents. It's currently 19 cents this morning. 19
cents, okay. I was just curious where it's staying. Okay.
Now, Buck asks, is your update correct? I don't know what you mean, Buck. If you can ask that more clearly. I'm curious if you see something wrong with the numbers here. I need to get it updated.
What was red?
The date, it said September 11th. That's right. I am actually updating that now. But yeah, I'll try to, when we're live here, it's a little bit multitasking. Sometimes forget to take a step here. But at the top, I try to update the time in which I update this. Before the close, before the weekly wrap-up today at 3 p.m., I'm sure we'll update it at the weekly wrap-up as well, and then try to get it updated at the close as well for everybody to look at through the weekend. Look at Berkshire there, Tom, the alone short.
For 3 months, it was negative. It had a good month, and now it's gone back to the negative side, hasn't it? I'm still long because it's above the yearly open, but goodness gracious, that's dead money for me.
Well, and that's kind of another little insight there. Sometimes you can take too many trades when you think longer term, but you also want your money working for you, and that's another good benefit of this sheet. Anything that says long is actively trying to go up. Anything that says short is not actively trying to go up, which is a big distinction there. All right, let's keep going. Down here are the dividend payers that Tom will discuss at the retirement session at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Be sure to join that Telegram channel. I'll post a link.
Yeah, you definitely want to make that retirement thing today. because I'm really going to get into some what I would call forecasts on some of these dividend payers, because I think there's some real good money there. They're all bullish, but I'm going to show you the ones I think that might be good. As we finish out September, and we'll focus on that with one of the elements today in the retirement thing. So anyway, those are the thoughts that we're throwing out there.
Right. We look forward to that at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Join the Telegram channel. You'll get the invite. All right, Tom, let's get to today's topic. Of course, we do this every day at 11 in September. We had a 1 p.m. session this week. That's not going to be normal. It's going to be every day, Monday through Friday at 11, unless we let you know otherwise.
Let me make an announcement before I forget it. I've asked Chuck, had a long discussion with Chuck. He's a master of key numbers. I said, Chuck, how about next Wednesday and Thursday at 11, you teach everybody about the key numbers, because key numbers is very valuable to have that foundation and knowledge. And so you don't want to miss that session next Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be a review for me, obviously, but I want you to have that education. So put it on your calendar today that Chuck is going to get into the key number. We taught it for years at DTI, but this will be a 2-day event, part 1 and part 2. He's got some stuff that blows your mind, that he's taking numbers to another level, but he'll be talking about that Wednesday and Thursday next week at 11. And so don't miss it. Now, all trades that we make in Train and Trade are posted in our TNT room. Well, what is our TNT room? Well, the TNT room is how I communicate with you before market hours, after market hours, during the day. And I do that because I see opportunities if I'm watching the market and I'm sharing with you insights, a lot of different things. And so probably one of the best things we do is this TNT room, and I really appreciate everybody joining this week. We highlighted it finally, and a lot of people came on board, and I think they're starting to get a better understanding how it's good to start out on the right foot each day, meaning direction, what's hot and what's not. For example, if you were thinking about selling your Apple and saw my post in TNT, you would have waited. Well, rather than sell it, you'd be up $400 if you had 100 shares of. That's the advantage of having that experience that I post in there to help you navigate through what we call the ups and downs of the daily routine. And if you like making money, I almost force you to make money in TNT, because I always find something each and every week that they're handing money out on. That's in TNT. Don't need a lot of prep work. When I see things pop on my screen, I share it with you through TNT. And anyway, go. We got a little bit longer recording on it, but go to dtitrader.com/TNT. If you do get joined, make sure that you take the time to get into the Telegram channel, because you're losing the value if you're not in the Telegram channel. Now, today's focus is how to turn a loss into a gain. I call it the switch-a-roo. The story goes back many years ago. When I first got married, I'd bought a stock called Data Point, 1,000 shares of it. It was $35 a share. And I never remember, and I learned a lot that day and a half when I came home, and Paula said, well, how'd your day go? And I looked at her and I said, well, I'm down $22,000 on Data Point. And he teared up, said, that's more money than I'm making a year. Well, I learned a lot that day about how my day went. But I'd also the rest of the story. So I took that loss on Data Point and took the money. I had $12,000 left, and I put it in a little company that's out of Oklahoma called Phillips Petroleum. Anybody ever heard of that company, Phillips Petroleum? And it was trading about $12 a share. So I jumped off the data point train, jumped into Phillips Petroleum, and it took me a while, but it finally got back up to $35 a share. And I said, that's a switcheroo. And so taking that money, sometimes in a bad deal and putting it in a good deal, is what you have to do if you have a bad deal in your account. I just shared that story with you. But how do you turn a loss into a gain? We call it the switcheroo. Now, with as good as my track record is, do you think I've had losses? Of course I've had losses. Nothing, everything I do doesn't turn into success. So you have to take losses. That's part of the game of trade. And our track record is good, probably unmatched. And the reason it's that way is because I'm willing to pitch things when I make a mistake. I don't argue with positions like I did as a young trader. Oh, I know I'm right, as my account got lower, lower, and lower. Now the market tells me, and I move on. Now, when I get in a position where my timing's off and I still like the directional bias I picked, here are some actions I can take. Let's go through 8 scenarios. Action. Say I bought a call and I thought the market was going up. Say I bought a SPY call, diamond call, QQQ call, and the corrective action would be, if I bought that call and it's not working in a few hours, maybe I get a negative reference bar on a long call, I'll go sell a call against it if I still think I'm right on the direction. For example, if you bought a silver call and you think you're going to make a home run, it doesn't exactly turn into a home run, I might sell a call up and give it the 72 hours. That's the easiest action you can take if your timing's off. Sell that next strike up. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you make even more money by doing that. Okay? Any questions about the initial action, buying a call, going against you, and what to do? We'll move to the next slide now, I hope. If I'm down, say, 30 cents on a long call, I want to bring in at least 30 cents before selling a higher strike call to hedge that position. In other words, if I paid $1 and it's now 70 cents, I'm down 30, I'm going to find me a call that pays me at least 30, put me back in the game. Everybody understand that technique? That's a technique I use. Now, if I still like the trade and got enough time, time's the key, I'd say 20 days or more, and I still like it and my time is off on the second trade, I might turn it into a buzz fly. And by the way, you can go to our option course and learn all about the buzz fly, but I use it quite regularly if I really like a trade. For example, if you got a stock, let's just say, here's one for example. Let's say you bought a call on PAAS. Well, PAAS doesn't just take off, it grinds. And maybe what I would do is if I sell a call against it on the day I bought it, then I got a vertical call, and then I still like silver going higher, then I would sell a call again and buy a call to put a further hedge on the position to try to mitigate my total loss that I started with. Does everybody understand those steps? That's 3 scenarios right there.
Let's show an example of this turning a call spread into a buzz fly or butterfly. I'm just going to pick some random strikes here. Let's say you were along the 60-63 debit call spread, because Tom, I can assure you that not everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay, so if you're along the 60-63 call spread and you decided your timing was off and needed to turn into a buzz fly or a butterfly, uh, the buzz fly, the way Tom normally does this, if he's long a 3 wide, turning a debit call spread into a buzz fly is, like Tom just said, you're selling a call spread above or at or above the strikes that you already have. So what that would be essentially selling another of your short 663 call in this example, which would leave you wouldn't want to do that alone. That would be a naked call. So you'd have to buy one of the 664 calls. All right.
You take no more risk, you just reduce the risk you had by doing that strategy.
Does everybody understand that? So you'd have a 1-2-1, one long, your initial, in this example, 660 call. You would then have 2 short 663 calls and 1 long 664 call. And that's, we call it a buzz fly. It's in technical option terminology world, it's called a broken wing butterfly.
Stacy would like you to write the chats and the number of contracts you'll have with each if you did a one line.
So it would be +1, and this is an example. I'm not taking this trade, of course. +1 of the 660 call, and +1s mean we bought it. It would be -2 of the 663 call, meaning we sold those two to open. Then it would be +1 of the 664 call. And that's a broken wing butterfly, or what we call it, the buzz fly. Now, the distinction between a buzz fly and a butterfly is a butterfly, you would have equal distance between the strikes. So it would be the butterfly would be 1 long 660, 2 short 663, and 1 long 666. You can see that there's 3 points between the strikes there. There's one main difference between that. On a butterfly, where there's equal distance between the strikes, you'll get more protection in terms of you'll diminish your risk more, but it's harder to make money because on a butterfly, now you're playing the middle strike, and you can make a decent return, a good return if you're able to peg that middle strike at expiration. But trying to peg any strike price at expiration right at it is very, very difficult. And the good thing about the buzz fly variation, you won't have quite as much, you won't diminish your risk quite as much, but it's still a directionally biased trade. And so it's going to be a little bit easier to get paid on it once you hedge it. A little bit more in your favor. And again, the assumption is you still like your directional bias. If you didn't like your directional bias, you just get out of the trade, take your loss and move on. But because we still like our directional bias, we just want a little bit of hedge. That's where the buzz fly comes in. It's really, really nice. And again, like Tom said, if you want to learn more about that, you go to your members area, one-click trading. You go to any of your trade services under the resources, and you find the resource called Options Made Simple. All right. Anytime you hedge a trade, great question. So the question is, when you hedge a trade like this, when you go to exit, do you exit the legs individually or do you exit as a spread? Most of the time when we hedge, we're exiting as a spread. All right. So this particular 4-legged trade, we would just put it in an order to exit the 4-legged trade at a certain price that we wanted to get out at. And there's more advanced techniques, but we'll probably best leave it at that for now. There's another before we move on, there's another question I wanted to address. When it was regarding if you buy a long call and you go to sell the next strike up, the question was, when would you consider selling? Essentially, the question was, when would you consider selling the next strike down instead of the next strike up? When you sell the next strike up, you bring in premium to reduce your risk, and you keep your directional bias the same. All right. If you still think the market's going up, you always want to sell the next strike up. Limit your risk, offset your timing error, but you can still make money as the market goes up. If you sell the next strike down, you no longer have a bullish trade. You now have a bearish trade. A lot of people see that extra premium that you can bring in saying, hey, this reduces my risk, more than the next strike up. But what you may not realize is it reverses your directional bias. So at that point, if if you sold the next strike down and your original directional bias came true, you would still make money. You wouldn't be accomplishing, you still lose money, excuse me. You wouldn't be accomplishing your goal. The goal is to offset your timing error, but keeping your directional bias the same so that if your original bias comes true, you can still make money. All right. Now, this is getting, pretty advanced. If, say, you can't take a day trade and the market totally reverses on you and you're convinced it's no longer going up and is in fact going down, then it would be more beneficial to sell the next strike down and reverse your directional bias. One thing to remember, and again, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, when you do this, you are bringing in more premium, and on paper up front, it looks like you're lowering your risk because you're bringing in more premium, but you're adding $1 worth of risk because now you're in a short spread, and short spreads have that risk between the strikes. So you got to keep that in mind. On paper, on your brokerage, it might look like your risk is diminished and you're certainly bringing in more premium by selling the next strike up, but you have that inherent risk between the strikes because you're short the lower strike now and long the higher strike. You get that 1 point risk there built in. Everybody understand? All right. Okay, Tom. I'll turn it back over to you. Look at the put side.
All right. Don't let this confuse you. It's the same procedures, but if you bought a put, you thought the market was going to go down. But if, say it didn't go down, then you want to bring in premium by selling a strike below with the same expiration, no extra money, and it'll reduce your risk. Think about it. Okay? Think about it. You put $1 out, now you only got 70 cents at risk if you sell that extra strike down. If your timing's off. Now, if you still like the downside direction, it's not going your way, rather than sit there and let the option premium diminish on you, go on and sell that short position another time and buy a put below it. Again, the action is going to reduce your risk. But if you start with $1, maybe you're down to 40 cents now. And if it does go down, your originally direction is right, you'll get paid. All you got to do is sell the whole thing greater than 40 cents. You got less exposed. This is what I like about the switcheroo strategy. Is this helping you with what we're going through? I know that it's a review for a lot of you, but is this helping you to get your mind in the right category when you make a trade? Okay, good. All right, keep going, Jonathan. Now, this is an action. You sold a put spread. What are you doing if you sold a put spread, okay, that you want the market to go up, but what if the market doesn't go up? My action is always go sell a call spread and turn it into an iron condor. Again, I sold the put spread because I thought it was going higher. If I wanted to stay in that and maybe give it a little bit more time, then I'd go find me a call spread to sell. Okay. Now I got an iron condor. I like iron condors because I like getting paid twice. That's why I like it. You got some more slides, Jonathan, or are you doing something?
Yeah, I mean, the slide, I changed the slide. The reverse of that, of course, is if you saw the call spread initially, thinking the market would go down, but it didn't. We saw a put spread that turned it into an
Yeah.
iron collar that way.
Always thinking about reducing risk. That's the overriding strategy to give you a chance to make some money, but do it with less money at risk with all these strategies. Now here's an action. If you bought 100 shares of a stock, okay, and you like the stock, but your timing's off, well, you can go use the Delta 50 strategy and take an opposite reaction with less money and buy 2 put options to protect the position. Very simple, but it works. You know, say you buy a stock at 100 and you don't want to get out of it, you still think you're right. Well, you can go buy 2 put options, opposite reaction here to protect you while you're waiting for your great stocks picking skill to show up. Buying time. If you sold, went short, then all you do is use the Delta 50 strategy to protect the position. I do that sometimes initially on a big price stock. If I'm planning to hang in there for a long time, I use the Delta 50 strategy. If I'm protecting myself, that's a great question, Bill. If it's a short position, I'm gonna give myself more time to protect myself. If it's a long position that turned bad, I'm gonna use a very short expiration because more than likely, if it doesn't recover pretty quick in the next, say, 72 hours, I'm gonna just get out of the whole position and move on. Always with puts, you want shorter time frames. Calls are more of a grind, the nature of the beast. Jerry, I don't know what you're talking about. What is Jerry talking about? The key part of all this is the position worth it to keep it hedged? Is there enough time for your initial bias to come true? I'll explain that a little bit, Sherry. You're thinking about it all wrong. The key part of all this is the position worth it to keep it and hedge it? Is there enough time for your initial bias to come true? Or do you get to the point and say, hey, I'm gonna move on with my time and money. And let's take a loss and move on. That's your decision how to do it. How do you know if you're wrong on a trade? Well, you do a good plan. You know where the break number is if you buy a stock, for example. Okay, let's keep going. Always key thing with options time. Yeah, you can always just take the loss, right? What I'm trying to teach you though is if you got a long option with at least 20 days or more, you probably can use what I taught you today to make money if you got that long of expiration. I wouldn't do it probably with something that was expiring less than 20 days. I just take loss and move on. That's the technique. "20 days gives you a whole new cycle. These are all actions that I take when getting into a position, realizing my time is off, but I still believe my directional bias is correct. I wanted to go through this for everybody because the old switcheroo comes in handy, especially if you got a market that changes direction on you when you're trying to lay out your plan. And that happens. You gotta have a strategy, and this is the strategy I use. Always remember you can go out the door and exit. It was funny this morning when Jonathan and I were going over the slides we're going to do today. It took me about, he said, 2 minutes to do it, probably an hour's worth of class.
That's
Because
right.
I do this all the time. Stacy, I think we do talk to either Kelly or Jeffrey. They got a schedule. I think I got classes in November. I know I got one in December. Now I want to continue my theme that I started yesterday on the moneymaker. Let me ask this question. Does everybody here see the value of the moneymaker in the short time I've been highlighting it?
You know,
Everybody
Tom,
understand how it spots stocks that maybe are exceeding the S&P and stocks that are diverging from the S&P? Okay. Let's continue educating about the importance of the moneymaker. How do you recognize the message it's telling you? Let's take a look at this morning. This is what I posted in TNT. I said the high should come in about 66.05, and I said the low should be 65.62. I saw that the TQQ was outperforming today. So I said, I'm going to buy the TQQ today and make some money. And that was the beauty of it, okay? Because how do you know it's outperforming? I said for the TQQ to get to 96.57, the moneymaker said S&P had to be at 66.05. Well, the S&P is at 65.89, which tells me the TQQ is outperforming, which put me on to the TQQ. Also, Apple, I pointed out Apple was outperforming because Apple's at 234 and we're not at 66.05. See how that works? Two outperforming stocks today off the moneymaker. We made money on the TQQ. Pretty cool stuff. Shows that relative strength, how strong it was when you put it side by side. Now we post the moneymaker updates inside TNT, okay? We posted after 5 in the morning, after 10 in the morning, and between 12 and 3, and then I posted at night around Sunday night. I'll post the moneymaker somewhere between 8 and 10 to get us started on Sunday night for next week. Now, here is the updates. Notice I started out with a range of 65.35 from yesterday. Well, clearly the market was bullish this morning, hadn't got to 66.05, so when I got to 5 this morning, I raised my lower end of the market. Why did I do that? Well, I wanted to make some money maybe with the SPX, so I sold a put on the XPX this morning because I said, looks like 62 is going to be good long enough for the SPX to lose some value, the XSP too. That's an example of using the 5 o'clock update. After 3, Chuck stayed with the same numbers, 65.62 and 66.05. So it's a pretty stable market, which tells you that option premiums are diminishing when it's stable like that. That's the way you read it. Now we post this now every day in TNT and give you comments when we do, like I did this morning. I said, hey, that TQQ wants to pay us. Well, how many people like to get paid? I shared what I was doing, said, here it is. Let's make some money together. That all happens inside my T-Buzz Talk and Trade. Go to dtitrader.com/TNT, but that's not it. Once you pay for it, that's not it. What you need to do is get in that room because there's a lot of action left in the day that you'll get great value from in my T-Buzz TNT. There's not a person here that won't benefit from it because it is really, it's like a research lab for us on the market each day, all inside of it. So if you like getting paid, really understand exactly how valuable it is. Let's look at what I said today. What did I say? I took the overview of the market. Notice that when I did, the S&P was 65.83. I said, where's my support? Well, my support was 65.75, which was my pivot number of the day. That's what I took from that, okay? I post this every day to give you an overview. And look, Berkshire was already showing signs it was weakening. Then I do this. I ordered where am I going to throw money? Well, I was going to throw some money on PAAS, KGC, SLV, TQQ, and TOL. That's the magic five. That comes out after I go through my overview, study my pivot number, and then I find 5 stocks that should pay me that day, or if they set up. Now notice the students wanted me to put the pivot numbers in there, and that's what I did. Started putting pivot numbers in there. So that makes it really nice for everybody, okay? Now I won't catch everything, but I'm catching fish every day. What I mean by that? One of these is going to pay us. We just got to figure out which one it's going to be. Okay, today it was TQQ. Red carpet service. There's the pivot for everybody to see. If you'd used that, you wouldn't have been short in the market as it went higher, higher, and higher today. Okay? Now, I also search the World Wide Web, www, and find what Wall Street is talking about today. Notice they're talking about Adobe and other things, okay? I think this is important to know what they're looking at. It's like looking inside somebody you're playing poker with, just see what they're thinking about. I do this every morning. I said, when silver's at 42 and I post in here, silver's breaking out headed to 45, that's not today. That's where it's headed next. $45 a share, about $2.50 to go. So you want to come up with stocks and strategies that's going to pay you with silver. That's what I'm basically saying, actual insights. All this is before most people got out of bed. Is this good reading or what? All right, what's next? Then we got the reference bar tables. This tells you where the current market is during the time frame you're looking at it. There's the RB3, and notice that RB3 had a high on the S&P of 95 and a low of, I can't read that, what, 85? We're currently about 87 on RB3 during this time frame. Next time will be Genesis, and that'll be posted in there. He posts this around the clock for you, where you can go look back on and find out what's hot and what's not. This is very valuable to me. NVIDIA is about 80 cents from going into a buy. Now here's where I posted TQQ trading. I said, buy, use $1 stop. Then I posted, it's paying us, and I got a smile on my face. I didn't put a smiley face, but I did. Okay, it was paying. Okay. Still 96.50. Anyway, I had a typo here. Oh, I typed 86. It should have been 96. It was 96.38. I said, anybody else making any money? How about you? I was trying to find out how people were doing and taking advice. Getting paid. That's the whole reason you're in here. Okay? Time to get involved. Go join dtitrader.com/TNT. Call 904-706-3532. And I got to read what Mark said. We ought to print that for everybody to see. When I first joined TNT, I was short on cash and almost passed on it, but decided to sell some car parts to finance my first month. I've been there ever since, and I've always made more than enough to pay the monthly cost plus the education that comes from it. He's been in since the first month. That's a great story. That tells you the value that's going on in there. Any questions about my TNT? Any questions? A lot of education, a lot of tapes, a lot of subjects we've talked about building this great room to be in. Now, doesn't do you any good to join and then don't request to be added to the room. You're leaving money on the table. So make sure you do that final step, okay? Make sure you do that, okay? Junior told me at Sawgrass, he thought this was one of my most valuable things I did was TNT. And I say Junior told me that because Junior been with me a while, and that made me feel good for him to say that. He's seen a lot of the stuff that we've offered over time. All right, so let's go to a live market before we leave and review. We'll start out with Seven Sisters, Jonathan. Just go through and just take a look, see what the market's saying at this time of day as we finish up Genesis.
Okay, this is a 30-minute chart of the S&P futures.
Okay, it's corrected, but notice it's just at support. If the futures I'll just tell you this, if the futures goes above 65.96, you're probably going to see higher prices. Barbara didn't understand buy it and use a $1 stop. Barbara, if you bought it for 95.80, you'd put a stop in at 94.80. That's simple. That's what the dollar stop is on the TQQ. I think since I've been doing that dollar stop that early in the morning like that, we've never been stopped out on a dollar. That's a pretty good directional record, I would think. This is a NASDAQ. NASDAQ takes out that high, then might create some opportunity later. Jackie asked, well, where would you sell it? Well, that's up to you, but I would look at 66.05 on the money maker and say, well, the TQQ is going to 97.30. I'd probably take my profit there, Jackie. 97.23 right there. Circle it, John, where Jackie can see it. It's right there for you to see. That's a heck of a trade. I'd take it. You got the tools, use it. And like I said, if you got a small account, you need to set up a cash account with one of these brokers. Maybe Schwab, and get in there and make some money every day. That's the Dow. Dow's weak today, but the thing I look at, and this is something you ought to too, you really ought to look at the percentage gain or loss. Yesterday was a huge day for the Dow, as Chuck had said, but you're only down, what, 0.3% today? That's not much in a pullback. I mean, I wouldn't go in there and short the Dow, that's what I'm saying. Okay? If you put a daily up there, it still looks really good on a 30 minute. All right, what do you got next, John? Gold. Gold looks solid.
Tom, I switched it up on you. I went to crude, just to be clear.
Yeah, we got gold. Is that crude or I can't tell?
This is crude oil.
Okay, that's crude. That's sideways, had a rally back up, probably going to roll over and go lower. That's what the big trend says. Put the daily up on crude, just showing why I said that. You want to be long a stock like that or a ticker like that? Not me. That's telling you the next leg's going to be pretty severe. All right, put gold in there now, 30 minutes. Okay, gold went up, made a high, it's consolidating. What's the low of that blue bar on gold?
That's RB3, low 36.84.
84, and what's the low of those two that came into the sell zone and reversed?
Right around 75, 36,
Yeah,
70.
75 is your port on gold. That's what I was getting at, 75. Okay, silver's next. That's silver. Now that looks fairly good to me if you take out the high, but it looks like to me silver's consolidating. What's the low of the blue bar?
Looks like 42 and a half, Tom. 42.
That's where my stop would be if I was long silver. Maybe 39. Okay. Now I'm going to stay long silver more in the day. That's why I'm willing to put a stop at 39.
And how about bonds?
Bonds are corrected. Put the daily up. Nothing. It's just taking a breath. Next week's the big number, right? Sam wants you to put PAAS up. Put PAAS up. Put a daily first. That's a bullish stock, Sam. And that's why I did next week with a put spread, because it should resume its upcline next week. That's why I did it. That was the rationale behind it. All right, any other stocks you want me to look at real quick?
Speaking of next week, Tom, let me just bring up this and I'll show you, show everybody in the room. I know you know about this, but if I click on links and go to current futures contracts, let me make sure you can see this. Next week is an interesting week. Monday, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, other index futures, the Russell, all roll from September out to December. So we're going to be rolling our S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, Russell, all those futures we're rolling out to December on Monday.
We're going to do it on Wednesday? Is it the 15th Wednesday? When's the 15th? Monday?
Monday, yeah.
Well, they'll do it Sunday night, so we got to change it today at the close.
That's a good idea. Yep.
Yep, it's going to roll Sunday night.
Now
Okay.
Yep. Next week, of course, because we're rolling, that means that Friday is your quarterly expiration. We also have the Fed, of course, on Wednesday. All right. And crude oil rolls next week as well. By the end of next week, you need to have your crude rolled as well.
In November?
Yes, November. Yep. So
that's a good little chart. I'd take a picture of that chart, but the thing you got to remember, folks, for the E-mini, I'll be quoting December starting Sunday night. Right now, December, I'm showing it at 66.44, and we're at 65.88. What does that tell you when you got that kind of premium with a day to go? I'll tell you what it tells me. It tells me market's going higher. When you got that kind of premium with a day to go in the next contract, okay? I started laughing to myself because, obviously we're going to take advantage of it. But anyway, might as well learn something every day. All right, folks. Jonathan, we'll be back at 2, right? 2 o'clock. Then tell me, give us some feedback. We're trying to grow this 11 o'clock deal. We're putting Chuck here. You got Jonathan here. Adam's doing the email stuff. We're doing everything. But what I'm noticing is that our numbers are not growing. And I've asked you all to tell people to come because I don't know. I don't think people know the kind of value we're passing out. Do you? I mean, these sessions are worth a fortune if you care about trading. Anyway, bring some people, tell some people. If you're around other people, tell them about us. We'll be here at 11 o'clock on Monday. And next week, on Wednesday and Thursday, we got a special with Chuck Crow on key numbers, a session you don't want to miss. All right, Jonathan, that's all I got. I say let's call it a day, and I'll see everybody today at 3. The link to send folks to, yeah, Mark. Jonathan, can you post a link, or get Adam, give you a link to send folks to Train and Trade? Yeah, retirement's at 2. We need to have that there where they can copy it. That's a good idea.
Tom, I'm going to head to the YouTube channel and replay a recent session you did on TNT. Give me a few minutes and I'll do that.
Oh, good. I'll let you in. If you join in TNT today, I will let you in. I'll keep my eye open where you don't have to wait. So be sure to go to, once you sign up, go to the invite link and I'll check it to make sure everybody doesn't have to wait any time getting into the channel. All right, Jonathan, you got it. Now you're going to get the money maker to help you do so many more trades that you want to do. Well, here's your chance if you want to join. It's the only service I talk directly to you on, starting as early as 5 in the morning, going as late as 10 at night. Mark says, I'm glad I'm already there. In other words, when opportunity arises, TNT's there. A good time that a lot of people don't think about, there's a lot of earnings announcements. I'll do trades in the evening because you can trade in the evening, okay, when opportunity arises. Actual opportunities and trade details all day long. A typical day in the TNT program. Let's review it. First, the first thing I post early in the morning is the overview of stocks and tickers I'm looking at, okay? I see stocks that are moving early and markets that are moving down. I see that early in the morning, okay, and opportunities being created. Look where the S&P was, 65.47. You think you might make some money if you knew that 65.45 was the pivot? Well, I gave it to everybody this morning. Neil just said, it's downright scary just how accurate the money maker is. Never seen a tool like it. No one else has got it. No one ever will. This one's protected, but folks, snapshot of the market between today. Now here's what I do. This is a typical order I do it. I post my Magic 5. Today, NVIDIA, 78.55. I said get long, #1 pick. TQQ, above 95.55 for the TQQ. In fact, it's 95.69 right now. QQQ, I said if it goes above 582.55, you ought to buy it. Let me check the QQQ, 584. There's another 200 bucks on 100 shares. Or 2 Delta 50s would have probably paid you 100%. I told you gold or KGC, 22.75. Listen to this. Jonathan, do the calculation on this one. I told people to buy it again this morning. It's at 23.13. If you had bought it off what I gave people, how much money would it have been up on a $5,000 stock bet? Figure that out for it. It's 23.13. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of money.
Well, that's 38 cents, and you said 5,000?
Yeah.
5,000 would have got you 200 call it 20 shares. So whatever that is on the 38-cent move.
Not bad. ETH. Now I put ETH in here at 41.11. That's a put sell. I've been telling people they can sell puts below the number I post. And that stock right now, let me just go check it out. ETH. Yeah, it's 41.53. So you can sell a 39 put out a couple weeks, make some money there. A lot of money I'm handing people every morning if they want to take it. It's up to you. Do you take it? I train you on taking it. I give my daily pivot on the E-mini, which is this alone. If I was out there, if somebody had as good a numbers as I use, and I don't mean to be cocky about it, just confident, if you use my numbers, you're going to make money and know how to use them. Let's just put it that way. Would you say that's a true statement? Let me ask the crowd here that's been using it. If you take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? That's really the question we're asking. You take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? I got yes, yes, absolutely, yes, yes, yes. Keeps green. Claire loves it. Well, so Claire had it. Roy says since 1996. Hey, Roy, good to see you. Since 1996. Jim says absolutely. Take my pivot number to the bank. I give it every morning. 65.45. This was my initial money maker that I'm adding between 5 and 6. Notice I got 62 right there. What I'm talking about, the diamond was at 458 and we were trading 65.55, which told me the diamond's exploding. Okay. Pretty good stuff. Also post trending news overnight. I like doing that. And I go through there and see if anything gets my attention. And, I post this every morning. Just get you current with what everybody else is talking about. Okay. Yes, Sharon, here, just say, I'll tell you how to get there. I give you trending news. Right. Okay. Breaking insights. Notice the mind maker say gold correct. In other words, stay out of gold. Stay out of gold. I was telling people. I said the TQQ strong when I post that. I told people we got news at 8:30. Big news. This is a trade we did a few weeks ago at $90 on TQQ. TQQ bonus trades alone can pay for your subscription, and it's pretty simple. You just wait for get one of these TQQ trades and do it. Do cash. You don't have to. That's just the start of the day. Chuck also provides reference bar analysis all day long with every new reference bar. These numbers right here keep you current with the current time frame when you tune in. Notice he's got RB2, which is your Genesis time right there. He's got RB3. I said RB2, that's Europe's time. RB3 is RB3 cash opening times. He posts this for every major reference bar in here. So you can go back and say, hey, where was the pivot number for that time frame? You got it right there. This is your own research lab. I go there and get it. That's why I had him do it. I print these suckers off. Reference bar tape reading all day long. Now, remember, the moneymaker will continue to post throughout the day. I'll post it tonight and every night, every morning. The DTI team will post it after 10. Genesis, they'll post it somewhere between 12 and 3, Jonathan. If you got to change, you can post it. But if you want to keep up with it. The key is I'm looking to sell something that last hour. That's what I'm looking for. We've got a report, comes out in the morning, tells you all the hot news. Sharon is reference bar. Jonathan, put reference bar white papers in there for Sharon. She's a new one.
Okay.
Anyway, this report here is right before the market where you got everything you need to know about today. Numbers ladder to the right. There's the white papers. Very easy to read if we post trades in there. That's a trade on Uber that we did in there, August 22nd. Clearly, we did great on it. Look at that, 86.85. It's about 95 now, isn't it? What a trade. We recognize stuff before most people don't even know about it. Yeah, keep the questions coming. If you're already using Telegram, easy to join. If somebody wants it, they just download Telegram, right? And then they put the link we given for talk and trade, right? That's how they do it. Two couple steps, you're in there. All right. We trade stock. We trade long calls, long puts, debit option spreads, credit option spreads, condors. We do condors in here some days. When I see an opportunity, I don't have to wake Jonathan up. You know, he does sleep more than I do. I give you my favorite way to play it when I see it. And I'll post it if I'm watching the market at the time. Usually between 8 and 10 at night when I take a look. Let's summarize everything Talk and Trade members get. Get the morning market direction. I mean, that's worth a fortune. Our pre-market watch list, I ought to change that to Magic 5 instead of the pre-market watch list. Anybody can get a pre-market watch list, but having Magic makes a difference. Put Magic 5 pre-market watch list. From time to time, you'll be invited to special webinars that I do. I update this sucker, reference bar trading, roadmap trading, income and other bonus trades, plus TQQ trading. It's got it there. It's got everything, doesn't it? Now, if you want to join, it's real simple. It's dtitrader.com/TNT. Everybody remember that website? Costs you $200 a month. Quit anytime. There's no contract or anything. You can only stay for a month. It's not worth it. I'll see you around. But I have never had anybody tell me it wasn't worth it when I meet them face to face at the different places we do, small classes or our Sawgrass. If you got any questions about this, call 904-706-3532. Everybody here can afford to have good information. Here's a way to get it from me. Nothing waters it down. It's strictly from me to you to your bank account. Any questions about it? Mina says, I'm new. I purchased a membership. You're going to give me signals when I buy and sell what I see. Yes, there's a ticket that we post in there, Nina. We covered it for stock and options. We do it in there all the time. So if you're going to join, get joined, okay? And if you join at $200 a month, okay, then I will post a trade this afternoon on the TQQ that maybe you can make some money, okay? How you like that for a bonus kickoff?
Okay, folks, that was a quick recording of yesterday's, actually, Tom talking about TNT. which we talked about again today during the presentation. We are live on YouTube. We're about to close the room so you can catch the recording at the YouTube channel. It's link's pretty easy to remember, hopefully, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Yes, Jennifer, TNT is included in the gold membership with Tom. The gold membership is you get all of Tom's trade services, so TNT is included. If you're interested in the gold service, you can give us a call, 904-706-3532, 904-706-3532. And again, the gold service is getting all of Tom's services. You can also type your name and your email in the chat. I'll leave the room open for a few minutes, give you time to do that. If you would like a call from us, post your email and your phone number in the chat and we'll call you directly if you would be interested in Tom's gold program. All right, one more reminder, Tom is live at 2 o'clock today for retirement education. The Retirement Center Telegram is free to join. And if you join that Telegram, you'll get an invite today in the channel for the 2 p.m. session. Jennifer, can you email me, Ro at DTI Trader? And I'll be sure to take that taken care of for you. Thank you. All right, one more last time. dtitrader.com/TNT to join Tom's Talk and Trade service via Telegram. It's the only service we have where Tom takes time out of his day all day long to post information into that Telegram channel, what he's seeing. That starts at night. Starts at night. In a couple hours after the futures market opens, Tom's going to be posting. And then bright and early in the morning, 5 a.m. Eastern time, Tom will be posting into the TNT channel at that point up until the close.